First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Kakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders are great men. So one citation to the men and brethren doing this work in sincerity and in truth. Alright, so this was a RT news segment. It says Davos deletes. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So I'm gonna play this. This program is basically about 2 minutes and 53 seconds, so about 3 minutes long. I'm going to play it in the end because basically this is what we've been speaking about this devil. You know, the scripture says, you know, and the Lord says, you know, who the Most High sent, speaking the words of the Most High, John 3:33, right? The scripture says that we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, which I'm going to get real quick. It says, 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us. We are not ignorant of his devices, right? So what is that advantage? What does it mean by the word advantage, right? It says
Strong's G 4122 pleonecteo. To
have more or a greater part or share, to be superior, excel, surpass, have an advantage over, to gain or take advantage of another, to overreach. Right, so there was a Yapa video that the elder from Elder Mawatazak from LA, he did on the whole this same issue, which is how to say it, I forget the name of them, but the world leaders coming together, right? These rich billionaires coming together that rule the world. Let me just read this here in the description. There's a theory going around right now that the world elites are pushing the Great Reset, right? So he went into it in his video where he got he had a clip showing where this guy broke down through the movies, through the videos, right? That they're about to do this Great Reset, right? They're about to so-called take advantage of the world, right? And this article that I'm bringing out here is from RT, or this little new snippet. It goes into what they say, because you know, after a while the scripture says, matter of fact, I'll get that too, the scripture says that they shall make their own tongues to tell on themselves, right? It says, let me read this here in the description. It says there's a theory going around right now that the world elites are pushing for the Great Reset, where the entire world order is reset to be less consumerist in order to save the planet and our future. Now, this is all the order of KO, right? Global climate change, global warming, right? High carbon emissions, whatever. These are all propaganda that the elites push out, right? To manipulate the masses, right? To believe their agenda, right? Because the scripture calls the elite of the Edomites wiser than Daniel, right? So they use, and they also calls them what? Serpents, right? A serpent has a forked tongue and he's a deceptive creature. You may have, you know, I was watching a video a couple of weeks back on social media where this guy, he had a snake, a pet snake. Probably he had the pet snake from small, right? And he in his drunken state had the snake out of the bag, and the snake bit him in his eye, right? And he being such a still, you know, you say, I lost my eye, and his comment was, I lost my eye but I still love you, right? You can't love a snake. You can't love, there are certain creatures that you can't love because, or you can't show that compassion, or be that, or have that kind of communication with, because what? They will bite you. They are the type of animals that will bite you. They will be deceptive. They will be around. They will be cool, calm, sedated until that natural instinct kicks in, and then they're gonna devour. They're gonna be however they're gonna be, right? So it says there's a theory going around right now that the world elites are pushing for the Great Reset, where the entire world is reset to be less consumerist in order to save the planet and our future. People would like to dismiss this as a conspiracy theory, but the World Economic Forum and Justin Trudeau aren't doing much to quell people's suspicion follow the resident act, blah blah blah, right? So the Davos, right? Let me let the video play a little bit.
There are some people out there right now who believe that the coronavirus pandemic is part of an actual plan to reset the whole world society so that we slow things down a little and stop consuming so much so that the planet doesn't burn up in a climate change nightmare. They're calling it the Great Reset. Now, I'm not saying I believe this necessarily is going on, but the World Economic Forum and Justin Trudeau certainly aren't doing anything to stop the idea from floating around. The World Economic Forum is this fancy group of billionaires who all get together every year in Davos, Switzerland, where they plan out the global economy for us peons. Really, it's for our own good. It's not just to make them richer or anything. And after Trump won the election back in 2016, they tweeted out a pretty crazy message. They tweeted, "You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. This is how our world could change by 2030. Read more." And then...
So there's a point, you know? You'll own nothing and be happy. So you had the stimulus check in the beta test in what? The first lockdown, right? So, you know, you was being fed by the government. Those who lost their jobs, right? That was a test. That was all. That whole first lockdown was a test, right? And guess what? You all didn't die from it. You all didn't die. So guess what? They started to speak about universal basic income, which is what they would like to institute, right? I think they say it's like what a communist or a socialist order, right? Like what they have in Cuba and Venezuela, right? Nobody wouldn't be higher than anybody. You wouldn't have any blinging. You wouldn't have any stunting. Everybody would be on the same playing field. But guess what? You're going to be fed by the government. So that's like what the scripture says. You'll have to go, even more so, you'll have to go to the enemy for the want of all things. So they're about to bring that wickedness on a different level, right? This is the elite of the world. And what I think I'm going to do, I'm gonna because I don't know if I have it in the history here. Yeah, GMS, Rock Solid Foundation, right? Psalms 55 and 21. I'm gonna link in the description the Elders video, because his video was a little bit more. It had more to see, and basically you heard one of the devils speaking himself, right? So I'm gonna let us speak a little bit more.
That linked to a page on the Canadian government's website, which had a video on it that was all about how you'll own nothing.
By the way, Justin Trudeau is the president of Canada, right?
And you'll be happy, damn it, because that's the plan they have for us all. Which sounds a lot like the Great Reset, actually. Which is probably why the tweet and the webpage have now been taken down, according to Rebel News, who scooped up a cached version of it to prove it existed. So, on the one hand, you've got the World Economic Forum deleting stuff that sure as hell sounds like the Great Reset. And then the other, you got Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, so the video from Mawata Zak is about is from the World Economic Forum, where these rich billionaires and rule the world, billionaires, trillionaires, the elites, basically come together and they make the plans for the so-called peons, for the inhabitants of the earth, how the earth is going to be run. This is why you see when the first lockdown came, what you saw shipping. You know, you had brothers who into trucking, right? And they was reporting that the ships not coming in, right? Because this is how Esau mapped out and planned out the world's global economy, right? When the ships stop sailing, food stop coming in, goods stop coming in, right? They have different countries producing different things, and what they trade. That's why you have Wall Street. They have the stock exchange. They trade, right? And trade these commodities come in by what? By ships, right? Some come in by sky freight, but majority come in by ships, right? So Esau can withhold the ships and starve out a country, right? It's total control, right? And that's what we just read, which is what? Advantage, right? It's 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan, which is the opposition, which is who? The devil, which is who? Esau and Edom, the rulers of the world, the elites, should get an advantage of us, but we are not ignorant of his devices, right? So this is one of his devices right here, to have more or a greater part of our share. So going back to the blessing in Genesis chapter 27, right? Genesis chapter 27. Genesis 27 and 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac, right, had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from his presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from hunting, and he also made a savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, who? Where is he that had taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and thou have blessed him. And have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, this is the point, thy brother came with subtlety and had taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he had supplanted me these 2 times. He didn't supplant him. He was wicked, and he sold his birthright for a bloody portion, a bloody pottage, and a portion of meat, right? Or bloody meat, however it goes. For he had supplanted me these 2 times, and he took away my birthright, and behold, now he had taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. So this is prophecy that is going to be fulfilled here in these times. And all his brethren have I given him for servants. All these nations are going to serve us, including Esau, right? And with corn and wine have I sustained him, and what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So this is the advantage that Jacob has, that Yasharallah had, Israel, the firstborn. We hope to be of the firstborn of the firstborn of the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? That would mean that that would be the elect, right? The ones chosen from the foundation of the earth, right? And from the firstborn is going to come the righteous seed and the rebirth of all righteousness and the righteous nation, right? So this is what the Most High has. This is the advantage of Israel, right? But Esau is trying to take a full advantage on this side in this carnal realm, right? But the Most High already said, what he said in Numbers. He said, had I said it and it not be done, the Most High is not as man that he should lie, nor the Son of Man, that they should lie, right? Had he said it and it not be so, it not be done. Roughly paraphrasing, that is Numbers 23. It says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing? My father bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass that when thou have dominion, that thou shalt break the yoke from off his neck. And Esau hated Jacob for this, because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. Right? So it says verse 42, and these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau has touching thee. Do it comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So now is when they're gonna try again. They're gonna try again. The scripture in Revelation 12 says what? The enemy coming in like a flood, But we're not ignorant of his devices, and we have what we covering ourselves with that covering of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, not the covering of the devil. Going back to what Isaiah 30, if it's Isaiah 30 verse 1. So again, let me just check real quick. One to the rebellious children say, the Lord that take counsel but not of me, that cover what they covering but not of my spirit, that they might add sin to sin. Because this is basically what you want to do. If you're saying you want to go back to your norm, it's just the norm was wicked. It's adding sin on sin, right? There's the mindset of Jake and these people out here to add sin onto sin, right? That's the norm. But the norm is going to be, the new norm is, which is the new world order, is going to be worse. Because why? Because these devils plan total world domination, which they already have, but they plan total oppression, right? Total oppression and total annihilation of the race of Jacob or Israel, right? How are they going to do that? By passing what? By making these mandatory vaccinations, which is going to make you what? Abominable in the sight of the Most High. The Most High dwell not in unclean places, right? This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make us unclean for the Most High not to deal with us, so that they can have total control over us, right? They can put that stamp or that badge of ownership, which is what the RFID microchip, right? Breaking the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, which is what? Not to put a marking or cutting in the flesh, right? And they say marking or cutting in the flesh for the dead. Esau is a dead man. Oh, he's a dead man. The scripture said that we once lived in sin, doing dead works, right? Esau has put that vibration of dead works on the earth. Homosexuality, lesbianism, that vibration of female domination, confusion, right? That all that was dead works, right? He's the dead man doing the dead works. He's the one. He was the man, or the serpent in the garden that said what? He shall not surely die. He's the man that have men given anal birth in homosexual relationships, right? That's this creature, right? So make no cutting in the flesh for what? For the dead. It says, woe unto the rebellious children, say the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with a covering, right? When you go into that cover and that covering, it means to be submerged. You submerge in, you know, you're listening or watching to the, there's the local police program that they put on every evening at 6 o'clock, right? And what is, you know, you have man, woman, and children calling in. All they're doing a good job enforcing the vaccine, not vaccines, the wearing a face mask and the social distancing and all these different things. Now the enforcers, the centurions, you all are just puppets. You all are puppets for the elites. You all are the enforcers for the elites, and you're going to be put to that. Jake, you're going to be put to that alongside with the heathen, right? All the righteous pride that you all have, that you're all doing something. Hey, there's no integrity amongst these people neither, right? Because hey, to have that integrity is to have it for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You'll have it for Esau and Edom, right? So woe unto you. Woe means destruction to the rebellious children, say the Lord, that take counsel but not of me. You're doing a good job wearing the mask and protecting lives. Right now I'm sitting down in my work vehicle where I work amongst biochemical hazards and chemical hazards, right? And the type of PPE that we have to use, right, for these biochemical hazards, being exposed to diseases like cholera, diseases like tuberculosis, diseases like typhoid fever. You have to wear full body suits, long sleeve overalls. You have to wear full face mask with filters. But you tell me that there's so much of a deadly virus going around that a cloth mask is necessary, or is it get charged for $1,000? These people are foolish. The upholders, the lawmakers and the upholders and the laws, they're foolish. But hey, so it must be done for the words of the Most High to come to pass. There's going to be a time of what? Jacob's trouble, a time that the world has never seen before. You understand, man? Right? That verse 2, that walk to go down to Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Right? Hey, and hey, yeah, they cast in Egypt, the house of bondage, right? Which is America casting that shadow over all these nations, right? It's bondage over the whole earth. It's dominion. It's advantage in trying to take up everybody and everything on the planet, right? But the Most High is going to destroy that, right? So I just want to go to this last precept here. This is Sirach chapter 12 verse 10. Never trust an enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humbleth himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, that thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away, right? And I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to go to this article here, because I worked in the machine shop. I did training in the machine shop, and I worked in the machine shop for a short bit, right, in trade school. And one thing that we was taught, right, the question was, what is the most stable form of iron? Right? Because in nature, things need to be stable. If it's not stable, it's going to come to that stable state automatically, right? Because you have different atmospheric conditions that are going to bring it to a stable state. If it's not stable, it's going to be what? I forget the term that they're going to use. But the question that I asked the internet was, what is the most stable form of iron? And this was the answer. This is one of the most appropriate answers for now, in the simplest form, without going too technical. I assume you mean thermodynamic stability, in which case under terrestrial standard conditions. So what terrestrial means, what? Earth, right? So you have atmospheric pressure, you have air, we breathe air. But what do we need to live? We need oxygen. That's what Esau says, right? We need oxygen. Oxygen is what we need to respire, right? To exchange, to bring energy and to bring life to the organism. Right, so in terrestrial standard conditions, standard temperature and pressure atmospheric condition, it is iron oxide. So iron oxide is the oxidation of iron, which is what? Rust. So when the scripture says, matter of fact, let me just finish read this. Probably FE 304, though one encounters variant portions of Fe versus O, which means oxygen. Fe is iron versus oxygen. Other than occasional masses of meteorite, in other words, a meteor iron, right? One most never encounters metallic iron under terrestrial condition when exposed to free oxygen. And as all car owners can attest to, steel will eventually rust. It seems impervious when kept dry because the kinetics of the reaction are unfavorable without a reactive environment such as moisture provides, right? So oxygen, you know, H2O is hydrogen that bonds with 2 oxygen, so it's going to rust, right? So the natural state of iron is to rust. The most stable state of iron is to rust. That's the base. It's not going to change into anything after that. It's not going to decompose into anything after that. Is rust, right? And this is what we're saying. This is what the devil is. The devil that we know as Esau and Edom, or as the so-called white man today. Esau and Edom is his biblical name, right? He's only prone to evil and not to good. And he's about to come down with great wrath, right? He's about to come to try to what? To chip and vaccinate everybody, to make them abominable in the sight of the Most High, to be rejected, right? And to have dominion. But we're not ignorant of his devices, and we give all praises to Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai for that. And he's going to spoil. So like Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai, but Shimon Kakodash is going to spoil his plans. So with that, I give all praises and shalom.